Join us to help Stacy from the top 7 must-sees at Walt Disney World to end animal cruelty and homelessness. All proceeds from purchasing a personalized autograph photo of Stacy will go to Stacy's favorite animal charities. For more information, click on the banner at wdwtoday.com or visit stacyjaswad.com. Thanks for your generosity and showing that you care about animals.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, July 4th, 2008, and this is episode 431 of Walt Disney World Today. I am Matt Hodgberg from StudioCentral.com, but mostly America. On the show today is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike, how are you?
Pass me a hamburger and a hot dog. Oh, I'm fine, man. I'm just barbecuing right now. I'll be right there.
Manning the WDW Today grill. It's Len Testa, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. How are you, Len?
Good, man. Actually, 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays any time of the year. Ranks up there with Thanksgiving to me in terms of holidays. I play American music all day. So Jimi Hendrix.
And you get to go around all day and saying, them's good eating.
Them's good eating. Exactly. I tell stories about how when we were young, we were too poor to afford fireworks and had to close our eyes and rub our fists in them really hard.
That doesn't have any long-term effects.
No. Ooh, fireworks.
And your whole family wears glasses. Interesting.
Odd. And you're all nearsighted, you say. How about that?
Also on the show today, we have Mike Scopa of allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, what are you doing here, William?
What are you doing? Country Bear Jamboree.
No.
What are you doing here, William?
If I tell you who said it, you might guess it. It's spoken by an audio animatronic named Morris. What are you doing here, William?
Horizons.
Oh no, Tiki Bear, Tiki Room.
Yeah, that's right. Like William and Morris, like the William and Morris.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Anyway, insert sad trombone sound here. And also joining us today is the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. How was your 4th of July going, Annette?
Oh, just fine. I love being stuck in the kitchen and cooking.
Well, while you're there, can you make us a sandwich? Would any of you like one while she's going out forever?
Nice.
Very good. Very fun.
Is this obscure reference?
Obscure reference Friday. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, on today's show, we're going to be celebrating the 4th by talking about an interesting topic, something that a lot of the listeners had wrote in about, and that is moving to Walt Disney World. As many of you are aware, and maybe we have some new listeners who aren't aware, I had moved to to Orlando. I mean, that I guess is the area. I moved to Orlando back in January of 2008, and now I've been here for about 6 months now, and I thought we would talk about it because a lot of people always, I know all of us on the panel, Annette, Len, Mike, and Mike, have all contemplated moving to Orlando, and it's something that I think many Disney World fans, those who, go beyond just an annual trip, but really, the fans of coming here, certainly those in this podcast, I think that's you, have always contemplated, gee, wouldn't it be great if I moved to Orlando? And one of the things that we did is I decided to jump, and I made the move. I was living happily in Connecticut, and my fiance and I had decided that it was the right time for us to go and move. Just decided, we wanted to be closer to Disney World, and we decided that moving to Orlando would be a good choice for us. So we decided to go there, and we've now been living here. I think it's a good decision that we've made. So I'd like to, I guess, turn it over to you guys, and let's first talk about, I guess, the questions that you guys have about that, and then we can go into later on exploring why some of you have not made that jump yet.
Because my wife would divorce me? Do any of you have an explanation different from that?
and that might.
I don't have that explanation.
Good night, everybody.
And that doesn't. I like Greensboro. I like where I live. I mean, certainly I've thought about, retiring there. Mm-hmm. When I hit the lottery in a couple of weeks. By the way, if anybody's playing the lottery in North Carolina, there's no point in you guys playing it this week since I'm convinced I'm going to win it this week. Don't even bother buying the tickets.
Too late. Mm-hmm.
Don't go to Rally. I'm going to
Rally. Really?
Really?
Anyway, one of the things that I think, one of the great things about moving down here has been that by being down here, I've lost one of the worst things about going to Walt Disney World is that you come down here and you're in a frenzy. You're in the, I got to go do this and this and this and this and this and this, and do all these and move my ADRs and get all this stuff done before I go home because I got to get all this stuff done on this one trip. And one of the great things has been that living down here is that it doesn't matter. If I'm in the Magic Kingdom and there's a long line for Space Mountain, and I don't feel like waiting on it, it's fine. I can come back next week and ride it. It really doesn't bother me. And I'll tell you, that is a really liberating feeling to have. Not to anything that's in Walt Disney World, you don't have that impending sense of doom that your trip is coming to an end soon and you must finish things down. You must, I'm paying a lot of money, for us to have a vacation. That line never comes around because, you can wait it out. You can go during, good examples during, perhaps, when it was busier earlier in the year during Easter. I said, okay, I'm not going to go to the parks this week. I'll wait for next week when the parks will be dead and, had free reign of it. So it was, in that sense, it's been very, very cool. Certainly a definite plus on it. I will say, though, I don't know if you guys have noticed it. I don't know if you've been off property enough, but whoever designed the traffic lights in Central Florida is on crack.
Well, tell us what you really think.
The traffic lights don't line up. They make no sense. Because let me ask you guys something. When you get to a red light, okay, and there's a left lane turn, a turn lane dedicated for a left turn with a left turn signal, when would you expect the left turn signal to turn on?
First,
right?
Most of the time.
No.
Most of the time.
No. Not down here. The people on the left have to wait while the regular lanes go, and then at the end they give you about 30 seconds to go, before the light turns yellow again. So that's one of the weird things that's been down here is the traffic lights really make no sense at all. I'm not sure why. It's just in Central Florida. If you go outside of Central Florida, like if you go over to, to the coast, like to Naples or something like that, or Fort Myers, the lights all work normally. There's just some, I don't know, something about it. Like someone in City Hall in Orlando was like, we get a lot of money from the tourists, but I think we should really screw with them. Let's change the light system over here. Just my theory. Do
you have the camera light? The cameras at the light?
No, those are illegal over here still. Thank God. They were talking about changing that over, but that has not happened yet. But those are definitely not happening yet. What have you guys always wondered? What are some things that are holding you back from moving down to Disney World?
Did you have any trouble finding a job?
I moved down here with no job. I looked like anyone. One of the things I think was really
you looked like anyone, but in terms of finding a job,
no, I did not find a job until before I moved down here, and okay. I think a lot of it. The problem was that I was still living in Connecticut, and once a lot of people heard that you were in Connecticut or anywhere else other than out of state, I mean, they kind of just their eyes kind of glaze over. You know what I mean? But once I moved down here on a Sunday, and by Thursday of that week, I had a job.
Was it the job that you wanted?
Yeah, it was a good job. It is a good job, in fact. I can't really complain about it that much. Yeah, it's a little far away. It's about 40 minutes away. What was that line, Newell?
I said your boss listens to the show, so you really can't complain.
So I gotta no, but I mean I do enjoy the job, but it's a little far away. But you know what? It's fine. It's all highway. The great thing about it is we live 2 traffic lights from Walt Disney World. We live right on 535, and the advantage is in the commutes in the morning. Everyone's going into Orlando. I'm leaving Orlando, and in the evening I'm coming back to Orlando, and everyone's leaving Orlando. So short of an accident, there's really not much traffic to contend with, which is always good.
So you don't find the tourists in the rental cars hard to drive around?
The tourists are really concentrated around Disney and Universal. Once you get beyond that, they're not a lot of them. In fact, the driving, I think, it never really bothered me. No, it's you would think that, but the only thing it's interesting though that you bring up tourists in it because the supermarket we go to is infiltrated with tourists, and that does annoy me.
Sorry,
I'm trying to get my groceries, and you've got. People from upstate New York trying to that are in you could tell they're tourists from a mile away, and they're going about half a mile an hour down the aisles in the supermarket and buying about 300 pounds of meat at the deli counter. And it's just that
Sandwiches.
yeah, exactly. But you find a way to do. I mean, it gets annoying, but you just go with the flow, and it really doesn't bother me that much. One of the things I really do like is having that ability to go to Walt Disney World whenever I want, and that's a great feeling. Like I could go and we could go see. I have time right now to go see one of the fireworks displays, probably Illuminations or even Wishes tonight, if I wanted to. I just choose not to. It's such a liberating feeling not being here for a certain amount of days. For me, it's something that's really made a big difference, and we love it. It's really a lot of fun. Now, I know what a lot of you probably think is the heat. A lot of people always say, all right, isn't it too hot down there? And I mean, obviously, Len and you guys live in North Carolina, so you have somewhat a sense of southern heat compared to what it is up in Northeast. But I don't know about you guys, but for me, I just got used to it. I mean, it's gradual. I moved down here in January, which was wintertime, which was beautiful, by the way. And you then, I mean, the temperatures are going up, but you're used to it. It's not like you get off a plane from 70 degrees into 90 degrees with 80% humidity. You get used to it. It's just how it was compared to yesterday. And I don't know, so far, I mean, granted it's only the beginning of July right now. So far it hasn't been that bad, really. I've just, it's hot. I get it. That's what air conditioning is for. Everywhere is air conditioned. I don't know. See, it doesn't bother me that much.
That's a difference that I have. My job, I work outdoors.
That can be a problem.
Yeah, little bit.
Little bit.
Yeah, but by Mouse Fest, we'll have to see if Matt has truly become from Florida, or if he's still from the Northeast when it comes to Mouse Fest, and is he out freezing like everybody else from Florida?
He was freezing a couple years ago.
When it's 60?
Yeah, complaining about 60s, yeah. I certainly hope not. I'm not one of those people. Ugh, that bothers me.
Too late.
Wait, that's me already. Wait.
What are some other things that you guys had always wondered about moving?
I think for most of us, the one of the big reasons that we would look at as being a deterrent from moving is that it would take away the special feeling or the uniqueness of being down there on vacation. When we leave to go down there for whatever period of time, the entire experience is vacation. Being in a resort, being at the room, being at the park, doing whatever, going to a restaurant, attractions, whatever. We're 100% on vacation all the time. Whereas if we move down there, I'm not sure if we would be appreciating that area as much. And it also might get to the point where we may become, saturated with it, and we may not enjoy it as much. And I've often said, people have asked me a lot over the last 25, 30 years, would you move down there? And my stock answer is, I don't know if I would want to live and work in my playground. So for that reason, I kind of hesitate.
I agree with you in that sense, Mike. The one thing that I do kind of miss is, that thing where you're counting down the days, like, oh, I'm going to Disney World in a couple days, and then you wake up that day and you are pumped because you're going to Walt Disney World, and you may go to work that day, and your whole day is just based around that. You get to the airport, and in that case, I'd be depressed because I hate flying. But even so, I mean, there's something cool about arriving in Orlando and getting off the plane and getting on Magical Express or renting your car, and that is lost. That's something that you will lose because you just don't do that anymore, obviously. The truth is, I only go to the parks. I definitely go to the parks at least one day a week, and I do one day a week because I have to go. I go to the studios to do a photo update for Studio Central. But that being said, the amount of time we spend in the parks is very limited in terms of spending. It's not like we're spending days and days in the parks, really. Aside from times where we stayed on property, which we have done, we still stay on property despite being so close because, like anyone, we want a vacation, and for us, the vacation is a couple miles away versus a plane flight away. And I mean, personally, I'm glad that it worked out really well because in hindsight, you look at the price of airfare now, and I hesitate to think of how my plans would have changed in terms of going down, because before I moved down, I was going down about 3 or 4 times a year. And Newell, I know you're going through right now where you have to cut back your plans for coming down because of airfare, right?
Yeah, I was talking about it just the other day, where we would have had the October trip, and even a November trip, not to mention the August trip and Mouse Fest. I'm already cutting. I'm cutting that in half already, and maybe even I may just go to August and then Mouse Fest, and that's it for me for the year. So I'm definitely cutting back.
I mean, one of the things that we joked about moving down here between me and my fiance was how much money we were going to be saving by not paying for all these trips to Walt Disney World, and to an extent that's really true. We have noticed less money being spent on that. Of course, a lot more money is going out for things like the wedding. But, in the long run, we're not spending the money that we were spending on airfare, on hotels that much, but we still manage to stay on property. And when we do stay on property, then we go back to kind of the old ways, if you will, spending the days in the park and enjoying as much time as we can. And in that respect, I understand what you were saying, Scopa, about it. It's not to say that I don't want to – I'd be lying if I said it was exactly the same, because it's not. But I still think it's still a special place because we value Walt Disney World so much and we're such big fans of it that it's not a passing fad for us. You know what I mean?
Well, you may want to revisit this in a year and tell me how you feel then.
Fair enough.
Well, I think for us, I know Mark and I have considered moving down a couple of times, and for us, the family and uprooting the family. So, I think Lynn was joking about with retirement or the lottery. We just have to, get the kids kicked out first, and then. But I don't know if I would live 2 stoplights away.
The other reality is you don't have to live quite as close as I do. Yeah. I mean, you can live in the state of Florida. I mean, certainly even an hour, 2 hours away. I mean, that would be still an easy day trip for almost anybody, I would think. I don't think anyone would say, oh, it's too far away to go on, there that morning, back the same day. And then that could be also an option. I want to mention very quickly, Annette, you had actually just sold your house. Congratulations. And I'm sure the thought crossed your mind more than once about, you sell your house. Maybe now's the right time. What stopped you? Is it just the kids, really?
It's the kids, and it would be nice for, Mark to have a job down there too. Because my job will go with me wherever I go.
But Mark won't. Is that what you're saying?
Being an accountant, he kind of likes to know where the dollars are coming from before he just picks up, like Matt did, and just moves. But there's the difference in our lifestyles, and the difference in your life cycles. If we had done that first thing before we had the kids, then it would have been easy. But now you have to think about the kids and their friends and the uprooting of them and what they would be leaving behind and what they'd be going to.
Yeah, you bring up a good point in that. I mean, one of the things that we did, when we moved, we still had some issues. I mean, we moved down there with no employment between the two of us. That much was certain, and that was a gamble that we took. We felt it was a calculated gamble, something that we thought we could handle. And we also, like you said, Annette, I mean, we said, look, we're all young and stupid once. It's easier to move now than if we have, a couple kids, a dog, and a mortgage. It's not so easy in that case, and we decided this would be the best time to move. And so far, I like to think that it's made some sense over there. I mean, there's just something. I mean, obviously, there's pros and cons to everything. Newell, I know that you've very quickly here before we end today's show, you had also contemplated moving down to Florida on an occasion or two. What's really held you up since you do not have children?
I actually interviewed down there twice for a position. The main factor was the lack of pay that they were offering at the time. It was almost cutting my salary in half. And I had at that time, I had too much time invested already just to give that up. So I decided against it.
Yeah, the cost of living here is a little bit lower than it is in the Northeast. Luckily for me, my current job affords me about the same pay I was making up north. So technically, it's a little bit better down here in that regard. But I certainly, obviously, for that kind of a pay cut, I wouldn't blame you for not moving down there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little. There's some other things I just wanted to mention quickly about living down here. One of the things I mentioned to a lot of people is the food. It's very touristy where we live in terms of food. There's a lot of chain restaurants, and a lot of times we're struggling to get out of the touristy area to get real food. Like you guys. I mean, Len, you have that pizza place that you own that shirt from.
Mario's Pizza. Yeah. Thanks
for the shameless plug.
In Greensboro, yes.
I mean, there's, you have that, like that every place. I'm sure everyone here can name a couple places near them. Those restaurants that you only have at home, and they're good. You like going to them every now and then. And here it's a little more of a struggle because a lot of it is, Waffle House, McDonald's, a lot of these other chains over here, Hardee's and Sonic and all that stuff. While it's good, I mean, you can have it every now and then. It's nice to have, quote unquote, real food. And certainly paying Disney prices is a little hefty for those prices. But overall, I would say after living here for as long as we have, we're happy with it. We like it. Certainly the winters can't be beat. And the summertime is, like I said, I've gotten used to it. It's hot. There's no doubt about it. But we're having fun. That's the bottom line. So that's it for us today. Don't forget to support our charitable effort this month where we're trying to help Stacy from the top 7 must-sees at Walt Disney World to end animal cruelty and homelessness. All proceeds from purchasing a personalized autographed photo of Stacy will go to Stacy's favorite animal charities. For more information, click on the banner at our homepage at wdwtoday.com or visit Stacy's website at stacyjaswad.com. Thanks for your generosity and showing that you care about animals. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.